Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 3. In the last episode, we've basically got confirmation that Satoko is now back under the care of her abusive uncle, who's basically just up and abandoned her one day after his wife ended up getting killed, because everybody thought that it was the result of Orishiro-sama's curse, but now that apparently his mistress has abandoned him, he decided to return to Himazawa and, well, is basically keeping Satoko at home to do the housework and all that stuff. Of course, Keiichi and the rest of the club tried to discuss on what they could do about the whole thing, but ultimately, after tense discussion, involving all the different methods that they could try in order to get Satoko help, or some kind of intervention, anything, they ultimately had to just come to terms with the fact here that under the law there's really nothing that any of them can do, or at least anything that wouldn't just end up most likely making the situation worse for Satoko in the long run. So they just have no choice but to just sit and wait and hope for a miracle, frankly. Keiichi, understandably, is upset about this, but at the same time I do agree with the rest of the club's view here that everybody's hands are tied in this. But Keiichi decided to go visit Satoko at the former Hoju residence, and, well, he witnessed firsthand that the uncle in question is definitely not treating Satoko well. Basically, we found out after a coach showed up and brought Satoko back home that the uncle in question basically sent Satoko on her own to get a shit ton of groceries, basically on the other side of town, and it's just spiraled from there. It just spiraled downhill from there, and Keiichi was just a screaming mess towards the end of the whole thing, but promised Satoko that he won't abandon her. And thankfully, it looked like as though Satoko was touched by this gesture, but at the end of the day, we had to leave Satoko at that house. And then finally, of course, on the way home, Keiichi and the coach end up discussing the situation together. And just, it was more of the same of what was basically discussed with Keiichi and the rest of the club members. Just how, despite their own personal feelings on the matter, despite them knowing what's going on, the law of the land basically has their hands tied, and even if they could find a way to intervene, it may not necessarily be the right course of action, the right thing to do for Satoko in the long run. Which is, again, fucking depressing as hell when you think about it. Because I mean, the alternative is just basically taking all the shit that her uncle is dealing her right now. And of course, Keiichi is, well, just still pondering if there's anything that he can do to try to save Satoko from the situation. And I'm getting worried that something is going to happen in the near future that will, well, make Keiichi do something that will make the situation a whole lot worse, not just for Satoko, but for probably everybody else involved. And I think that pretty much covers it, really. Otherwise, we pretty much just went over a tip that I unlocked here that just detailed the anonymous report that was made a few years ago to a child welfare thing about Satoko's abuse that she was dealing with back in 1980. No, well, 81. What? The 1980s. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and hit continue. Let's get our heart ripped out a bit more today, shall we? I went home. and washed the day's sweat off in the shower. Normally, I could reset everything by taking a shower and forgetting all the bad things. But that didn't happen today. I got out of the shower to find fresh underwear placed neatly in the laundry basket. Normally, I didn't stop to think about it, but today I felt happy at my mother's consideration. At the same time, however, it made me realize how much Satoko must be suffering. Having to clean that man's undergarments, that really must be torture indeed. At the very moment I was appreciating this gentle kindness, Satoko might be being bruised by her uncle's cruel words. I went up to the second floor and shut myself in my bedroom. Then, facing my desk, I folded my arms. My topic of thought, of course, was Satoko. We thought that if we could just get a public agency to intervene in the right way, the problem would be solved. But with what Coach said, I didn't think it would be so easy. Satoko was obstinate, and she would stubbornly deny the abuse and try to endure it. And that was an act of atonement towards Satoshi, who had protected her before and then run away. As long as she thought that way, the situation wouldn't be so simple. But earlier, before Coach, I made a clear declaration. If I thought Satoko was in danger, then I would do what I had to. In the end, that meant I was just going to wait and see too. Nevertheless, I thought I'd drawn a clearer line than Coach or my friends had. If the time came, I would report it. Over the phone. Given Satoko's personality, she might criticize me if she found out. But I believed it was ultimately the best decision. Wait, Keiichi Maebara. Would that really be all it took for the problem to end? Say that I reported it to a public agency, like the Child Consultation Center. What if they stuck to their wait-and-see attitude like last year again? Last year they decided to do just that, and the situation improved temporarily. But then the aunt, thinking herself a laughingstock, increased her tormenting in secret. In the end, things became even more underhanded than ever before. This year it was her uncle. I had just seen him for the first time today, but the man seemed much more direct, much more violent than the word underhanded could imply. He wasn't like their aunt. No, not that subtle. He was more direct. He might also assault her with punches and kicks. I think we've already established that he most certainly did. Don't forget the bruises that we saw on Satoko. That could easily be discerned from the bruises and such I saw on Satoko's body. Thank you for remembering. Shit. You're too naive, Keiichi Maebara. However heroic it may seem to report what was happening, if it doesn't save her, then it doesn't mean anything. Reporting things to a public agency was only one option, and leaving everything to them would be dangerous. We would need something more to guarantee Satoko's safety. I scratched madly at my head, thinking, then tilted it back, wanting at least a little bit of calm. The memories of angry arguing with my friends today came to mind. I was embarrassed that I hadn't realized it until Reina said something. She was right. My house is big. Compared to all the houses with the straw-thatched roofs in Hinamizawa, it was really big. We did actually have empty rooms. I never thought that we were affluent, but also never that we were poor. I just didn't admit it because people would think I was arrogant. But maybe my family really is wealthy. We had a few rooms we could lend to Satoko. Guest rooms are only in use when people related to my dad's job come and stay every once in a while. Plus, if we cleaned up a few of the rooms my dad uses for storage, they could work for her as well. As for food expenses, that might have been a more serious problem than a kid like me could imagine. Lunch every day would be manageable. All of our friends would just have to bring a little bit more for lunch than they usually did. With everyone pecking at everyone else's food anyway, it would be manageable. For breakfast and dinner, though, that would have to be up to Mom. I would need to convince her to lend Satoko more than just a room. Of course, I don't even think of convincing her. I don't even think convincing her of that would be easy. About how much did it cost for one person to eat? Well, it depends on the person and how much they eat, on average. How many tens of thousands of yen per month? They couldn't complain about it if I shouldered that, could they? Oh, I'm sure they could. They could complain plenty. I only had 10 or 20,000 yen in savings, but it was something. I actually had even more, thanks to New Year's gifts and such. But my parents had taken all that and put it into a fixed time deposit. If I could get access to that, it should add up to a lot of money. And if I got that far, Mion and Reina would need to share some of the burden. Of course, that didn't seem like it would work. Reina got mad at me, didn't she? About how I shouldn't just shove responsibility onto others. I'd have to ask for help. Even so, I'd basically be saving her myself. I would follow through on it. Oh, but it wouldn't be only food expenses. That's right. You have to worry about clothing, hygiene, and the other utility expenses too. Okay, maybe not so much utilities in your case, but yeah. There were a lot of other things that you couldn't do without, like baths and laundry. My mother was awfully methodical and strict about cutting out inefficiencies. And for once, that was troublesome. She might even make reference to the money it would cost for the detergent Satoko would use for her own clothes. I couldn't think only about food expenses. I needed more money. Get a job. Hey, wait, Keiichi Maebara, since when was all this about money? Even if you could afford it, you would need your parents' permission first. They'd be looking after a young girl for a really long time. What would I say to persuade them? Just calm down a little bit, Keiichi Maebara, and you realize right away that you can't. Even if you asked them seriously, they would tell you to call the police. Even if you managed to gain their empathy, why should the Maebara family have to shoulder all the burden by itself? That's what would happen. That was it. It was very sad and frustrating, but no matter how much I wanted to help, My resolution alone couldn't save anything.
そんなにも子供って無力なのかよ。
Are kids... Are they really this powerless? It's not just kids either. You're forgetting the adults too, as Coach reminded you. I felt frustrated. I believed my feelings were stronger than anyone else's. Now that's arrogant thinking right there. I really wouldn't run with that train of thought if I were you. It might convince you that it's perfectly fine for you to do some things that would otherwise be seen as incredibly reckless. But sadly, I think that is exactly the direction you're going to go, aren't you? I even thought they were stronger than coaches. And yet, at that point, there were 2 knocks at my door, and Mom poked her head inside.
起きてたの?
Were you awake?
さっきからご飯ってずっと呼んでるわよ。
I've been calling you for dinner for a while.
あ、今行く。
Oh. Yeah, I'm coming. As someone financially dependent on his parents, I shouldn't say this, but... I just sat around doing nothing, and food suddenly appeared. It felt so natural to me that I'd shamelessly thought of it as the responsibility of the parents who gave birth to me. But when I realized that natural thing was actually a privilege, I came to realize just how hard it was to grant that privilege to others. Even the boring meal in front of me, no better than it ever was, had more meaning than that tonight. There was food for 3 on the table right now. For Dad, for Mom, and for me. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to add another place at the table. So just imagine then how difficult it was been for Rika and Satoko both by themselves to, well, take care of themselves. It will really make you think. Think, Keiichi Maebara. If it was hard to make food for 4, then just think about how 4 people could eat food made for 3. Oh. I changed around the way I thought. And with that, I began to consider an unthinkably bold plan. That's right. I didn't need to get my parents' permission. She should just live here in secret. And how do you propose to keep her a secret from the rest of your family? Better yet, how do you propose to get Satoko to actually agree to this plan of yours? That's the one thing you haven't really stopped to consider at this yet, is what would Satoko think about any of this? I got upset when I found out a while ago. But if I remembered right, if you climbed out the window, then shimmied down the first floor roof or the gutter, you could go in and out of the house directly from my room. Satoko's physical ability far surpassed my own, so it would be even easier for her. I hadn't even thought about it, but her living here secretly was actually a necessity. I'd only have to bring Satoko to my house when the public agency said they would wait and see. In other words, if Satoko's uncle continued to be her guardian, if, in such a situation, word got out that she was here, her uncle would barge in and drag Satoko back with him. Her uncle was her rightful guardian, so my parents would hand her over without an argument, no doubt. So, I need to keep it a secret that she was living here. You also need to consider the possibility that the uncle might have the police start looking for Satoko as though she were kidnapped or something, you know? And if they find out that you've been harboring her, you and by extension, maybe your parents as well, could very well get charged for kidnapping. If it needs to be a secret, then having my parents' help would mean a lot, but gotta save your allies first, like they always say. I don't know. That kind of thinking never really striked me as an ally-ish sort of thing. But I've always valued trust quite a bit, so maybe I'm a bit biased. Okay. Persuading my parents was an unrealistic proposition, and you don't think that harboring Satoko in secret isn't. So I'll search for a way to have her live here in secret. When I was around, she would just have to be really quiet in my room on the second floor. You really think that's going to be good for her, to have to essentially hide in your room the whole time that she's in here and just be as quiet as a mouse? That could be very stifling for her. Be stifling for anybody, frankly, being in that kind of environment. The issue was the daytime. If she was hiding from her uncle, then she shouldn't go to school. It might be lonely, but not going would be the better option. It could easily teach Satoko the stuff she learns in her grade. Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think that the government would really see that as proper education towards her. Yeah, you could get all the books, all the study materials that you could possibly get your hands on, but she's part of a public education system, and well, that they keep track of, and those systems keep track of all the students that are under their care and going through their education curriculum. If they meet qualifications to pass a certain grade, they move on. They get moved to the next one. If they don't, they're held back. Just how you need to if you really want her to actually have an education that will be recognized as something meaningful by your country's government, I think you need to just let her stay in public schooling. Because there's no way in hell that you could afford a private education. Actually, during school, I mostly help all the younger kids out rather than study my own stuff. During the day, I would need to go to school, so I wouldn't be at home. My parents respected my privacy now that I was this age, so they wouldn't go snooping around in my room while I was gone. How would you know? I think. Thank you. If she holed herself up in my room, it'd be okay, right? I really don't think it would be. I don't think Satoko would be necessarily happy about the whole situation, even if you did somehow by some miracle convince her to stay with you. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that either. If my parents did come, thanks to where the second floor was, she could hear their approach from the sound of them coming up the stairs. And that's another thing. She wouldn't necessarily be able to fully relax while she's here, living with you. She would have to always keep an ear out over anybody who may or may not be in the house approaching her location, and either hide accordingly or just flee. That's the exact opposite of a relaxed environment. Nobody should really have to live in such a stressful environment. Was what I'm trying to say here. Again, you're not thinking this through far enough. And there would be a little bit of time before they got all the way up. I estimated a few seconds. That she'd be able to hide herself in the closet. But what if they need to go into the closet? Wait, Keiichi. Something doesn't make sense. If she can't go to school, then what will she do for lunch? I think that is the least of your concerns. Calm down already. I could just leave her my own lunch, couldn't I? Okay, but then where's she going to, where are you going to have her, hide all the bento boxes? I should just go to school without lunch and get everyone else to split theirs with me. Another thing I just thought about. What if your teachers, what if your teacher or any of the staff faculty notice that, hey, you're no longer bringing your own lunch? And, well, if they ask you about it and you act in such a way to where it seems like you're hiding something, at least one of them gets suspicious enough and decides to, I don't know, contact your parents or something and say, hey, are you feeding him? Are you giving him lunch and all that? That might be a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of an overreaction, I guess, but I don't know, but I mean, it's a possibility in my mind. And then you would just find yourself, and then if that did happen, you would just find yourself with your parents just wondering, hey, what are you doing with all the lunches we keep giving you every morning when you go to school? Just... Okay, that's good. No more contradictions or oversights, right? There's way too many that I'm already counting. Oh, breakfast and dinner. I could somehow get her to go without breakfast. Okay. Skipping the most important meal of the day. All to help keep her hidden here. Alright. I can go 2 meals a day when I sleep in on Sundays after all. Yeah, but she's a small growing child. You're talking about malnourishing her. Every night, I pretend as though I'd have a bigger appetite and ask for a bigger helping. And then I could just somehow give part of that to Satoko. And how would... yeah. I could just keep finding things to nitpick here. But I should probably not do that too much. I think I've already made a point here that he's really not thinking things through as far as he should be. As a test, I stood up from my seat with my plate of fish in my hands.
どうしたの、ケイチ?
What's wrong, Keiichi?
ご飯は座って食べなさい。
Sit down and eat your food. Well...
ちょっと気分が変えたくなってさ。
I'm kind of not in a good mood.
自分の部屋で食べてもいいかな。
Could I eat it up in my room?
ボロボロ落として汚すぞ。
You'll make a mess.
食事は食卓で食べなさい。
Eat dinner at the dinner table.
ごめん。
Sorry. Well, that little option's just now been tossed out the window, huh? Hey, wait. I only tried to take away 1 plate of fish? And they ganged up on me? In reality, it is impossible for me to smuggle food away without my parents knowing about it. Oh, I could think of several ways you could smuggle food to your room without anybody knowing about it, but that still wouldn't really help all the other problems I pointed out, now would it? Including the malnourishment bit. But it must have been worth taking the time to think about. There must be some trick, some method to avoid them realizing. Even if I can't think of one today, I might think of one tomorrow. Keep dreaming. My appetite was rapidly fading, so I finished early and went back to my room. I went back there and tried to think about it from Satoko's point of view. For example, let's say my parents were coming up the stairs right now. I've got to hide! I opened the closet. Clatter, clatter. It didn't open quietly. We can toss the closet out the window next. Hey, wait. Didn't it always open real smooth and quiet? Why was it suddenly doing this now? What is this, a faulty house? Had it gotten old or something? No, you probably just didn't realize how noisy it actually was until you needed it to be as quiet as possible. Or was I just not putting enough work into it? Could I just plaster it with wax? The sound itself may have been soft, but it left me uneasy as to whether my parents would detect it happening when they climbed the stairs. But this was an easy problem. I could do something about it. I just had to fix it up a little so it didn't make noise anymore. For now, I closed myself in the closet as though I'd successfully hid. I basically always left my futon out on the floor. I couldn't think of any real reason my parents would want to go into my closet. Even so, there might still be some reason they would. I might need to construct some sort of camouflage so that she wouldn't be noticed even if they did open it. We're even discussing talk of camouflage now. I think a simpler thing would be to just put a fucking mirror in the damn closet at this point. But even that wouldn't really do anything. If anything, I would argue that camouflage would stand out more, depending on on what you use. But the more she worried about that, the less time she'd have to actually hide, meaning it would be more likely that they'd hear a noise. And then, I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom! The need to use the toilet. So obvious, and yet such a fatal flaw. Good thinking. Even I didn't think about that one. The only bathroom was on the first floor. It would be absolutely impossible for her to use it without my family realizing. So what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do about that, Keiichi? Suggest that she urinate and defecate in a jar? I might need to set up a portable toilet, like a chamber pot, I guess. Satoko would hate it. I think most people would hate it, man. So she could go in my room. But the stench would be pretty terrible. And you don't think that anybody wouldn't notice that? Anyone sensitive would probably notice the smell without even coming into the room. The bath was okay, though. She could just take a bath when my parents were out. But I couldn't do anything about a toilet. When her stomach started to hurt, my parents were lazing around downstairs. She'd be in trouble. It was then that I noticed that I'd been clawing at my head with both hands. I sat down in the dark closet with my knees against my chest. I buried my face in them and tore at my hair. The more I thought, the more contradictions popped up. The more I thought, the more things failed. And the more I worried, the more I was reminded of how little power I actually had. My back started to hurt from staying in a cramped place for so long. But if I was to shelter Satoko, I would need to force her to feel this pain. To live in such a dark, narrow, suffocating place. Forever. But it would still be better than being abused by her uncle. Or so I wanted to think. It got hard to breathe, so I gave in and crawled out of the closet. I looked at the clock, and to my surprise, it was 3:30 in the morning. Jesus Christ, you really lost track of time. How the hell did that happen? Yeah, it felt like so little time, but it was so unbelievably long. When I realized that, I was slammed with a terrible urge to sleep, as if the time had only just caught up with me. I didn't have enough strength to fight it, and I fell flat onto my futon. Shit, I can't just go to sleep like this. If I waste any time, that'll mean I'm taking the same wait-and-see attitude that Neo and Keiichi and everyone else did. I don't think depriving yourself of sleep would be a good idea. For a multitude of reasons. I need to keep worrying about how to rescue Satoko for a minute, or even a second longer, than everyone else. This isn't a contest, you idiot. Isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way? The one phrase I spoke to myself swirled around and around in a spiral, and steadily took over my entire mind. For my last moment of consciousness, I thought. There were a lot of blind spots in what I considered tonight, but I absolutely wasn't wrong for having those ideas. I would beg to differ. Tomorrow, I would suggest this bold plan to the others. They're not going to agree. Save yourself the trouble. Mion might be able to help somehow, and Reina was really sharp, so she might have a good suggestion. And above all, we need to rescue Satoko once again, with everyone helping out. I felt pathetic for letting myself fall asleep. I'm sorry, Satoko. I don't think she'd want you to be sleep deprived either. The ceiling blurred into view. It was hot. There was a thin layer of moist sweat on me. The voices of the cicadas permeating my room were somehow grating to my head. What? A sweat? You running a fever?
今日日曜日じゃないよな。
Today's not Sunday, is it? I remember today was a weekday, and quickly brought myself to consciousness. And then finally I leapt out of bed. The clock read a little before 10. I was totally late. Losing track of time all the way until you were awake at 3:30 in the morning. And then you wake up, and the sounds of cicadas seem to bother your head and you're in a sweat. Am I reading too much into this? Or might you have caught something? When I wandered downstairs, my mom would get mad at me. There was nothing I could do, though. After reviewing the schedule for the school day for a moment, I suitably rearranged the stuff in my bag. I hurried and got dressed, then went down the stairs. There was no sign of my parents anywhere. Maybe they went out somewhere together. So that's how it was. My mother had probably woken me up once this morning, but then I fell back asleep without remembering it. And my parents, thinking I'd gone to school, left. Something like that probably happened. You must have been really out of it if that's what happened, for you not to remember any of that at all. I went to the front door, and as I expected, it was locked. Looked like I was right. It was further evidence of my speculation being correct. When I realized my parents weren't here, I suddenly felt less like I had to rush to get to school. There was one portion of breakfast left in the dining room. Probably mine. The milk they poured in it had gone warm since a while ago. When I realized how hard it would be to sneak food for Satoko, yesterday, I had cried. Well, thinking back on it, food wasn't the only issue in that regard. You could try literally everything else, my friend. I wasn't in a position where I could bargain for Satoko by myself anyway. Such a heavy thing just to save a single person. I'd seen this on TV and in comics all the time. Yeah, well, that's the thing about fiction. It's fiction. It can be as different from it can be and often is much different from the reality that it bases itself on. If it bases itself on reality at all. Those feel-good words about how you'll save your friends for sure and such. Was that why I ran my mouth like that, swearing to save her? Because I wanted to feel good about it? No. That absolutely wasn't true. Because the fact was I couldn't save her. Because I didn't want to think like an adult. Like I couldn't do anything but watch. Had Satoko gone to school today? I immediately realized that was a meaningless question. Whether or not she did, there wouldn't be a change in the environment she'd been placed in. If I couldn't save her, and no one else could either, then we could only pray for a miracle.
俺たちは無力か。
Are we so powerless? With a vague goal of getting to school in mind, I sluggishly put on my shoes and stumbled out the front door. I had only overslept by 2 or 3 hours, but the sunlight and air felt completely different from how they usually were in the morning. Of course they did. Once 10 o'clock came around, you could barely call it morning anymore. I didn't feel like walking the same old route to school. I needed to ultimately end up there, but it was like I didn't want to choose the shortest route, the most proactive one, to get to school. But in a more positive light, maybe I wanted some time to walk by myself and think. I had to go to school, partly to make sure Satoko was safe. But I hadn't come up with any plans yet. Nothing since last night. So the path I took from my house was in the complete opposite direction. If I went this way, I'd pass Reina's house and the dam site. It'd be quite a detour. I calculated how long of a detour it would end up being. Then, satisfied with the answer, I started to walk. Reina had brought me to the dam site a few times. One section of it had turned into an unlawful, oversized garbage dump, and Raina really liked going fishing for junk in there. Did you find Colonel Sanders? Without that, she'd come off as a completely normal girl, too. There are plenty of things besides her scavenger hunts that makes Raina far from normal in my eyes. I can think of a few other qualities she could do without, but whatever. The view quickly opened up wide, and I was hit by a strong wind. There was no shelter here at this big damn site. Maybe it was a good thing I came here, I thought. At the very least, it was more healthy to think about stuff in a place like this instead of my cramped bedroom. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with the rich, cold air unique to Hinamizawa. Ring, ring. I turned around reflexively. It was a bicycle bell. Considering where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way. They rang the bell because they want something from me. Maybe it's your life! Well, well, well. I was wondering when we'd run into you again. Hello, Tomitake. And hey, excuse me. You're from Hinamizawa, right? I also like how we have your name already here in the dialogue box. But I'm thinking, something similar like that happened with Ushi as well in this chapter. But I think I pretty explicitly remember back in the first two chapters that each character, when their name wasn't introduced, when they didn't introduce themselves proper, was referred to as some other description of themselves or another, like middle-aged or middle-aged man or something like that, or old detective, what have you, something like that. I wonder, assuming I'm not reading too much into this a little bit, if this is further evidence of time loop stuff going on in the background. Hey, well, that would mean that essentially that Keiichi might remember Tomitake here. Hey, excuse me. You're from Hinamizawa, right? Yes, why? I've seen this person around a few times. Right, I remembered. His name no, never mind. I think maybe you did. No. He just asked you if you were from here, so clearly you haven't talked to each other yet, at least in this chapter. But apparently you are aware of him. His name, I think, was Tomitake, a freelance photographer who lived in Tokyo. He would zealously visit Hinamizawa every season to take pictures. Or so Mion and the others told me, I think. You're not even certain about Mion and the others telling you about it. That's also interesting. Because I know for a fact that they did tell you about it at least a couple times, or back in the previous chapters, at least.
フルデ神社ってここからどう行けばいいか教えてもらえないかい?
Could you tell me how to get to the Furude Shrine from here?
マップを宿に置いてきちゃったみたいでね。
I think I left my map at the inn. You don't know where it is? You, of all people. That's surprising.
困ってたんだよ。
I don't know where to go.
ここから神社ですか?
The shrine from here. I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. I was a little irritated having been bothered for this, but then I realized it meant my detour actually meant something. That feeling faded quickly.
教えてもいいですけど、ちょっと口で説明するのは難しいですよ。
I'll tell you, but it's a little difficult to explain.
一緒でよければ連れて行ってあげますけど。
I could bring you there if you don't mind. So this is how we're going to meet up with you and your friend, right? Nurse Takana? Takana, I believe her name is. One of these days I'm gonna get her name completely right without issue. If I'm getting it wrong again. I promise.
え?
Really?
それはかたじけないね。
I would be in your debt.
助かるよ。
Thanks a lot.
あ、でもいいのかい?
But are you sure?
君の用事は。
Did you have something to do? Tomitake-san finally appeared to have realized how strange it was for a student like me to be here at this time of the day. I smoothly told him not to worry about it, then turned my back and started walking towards the fruit shrine. Tomitake-san hurried to turn his bike around and came after me.
ごめん。
Sorry.
気にしないでくれよ。男には組織を離れて一匹狼になりたい時もあるんだからね。
Don't worry. All guys have times when they need to split up from the pack and be lone wolves for a while. What a free-minded freelancer. I like that. That's a good title for him. Free-minded freelancer. It was easier for me, too, that he was under that impression. I'm Tomitake, a freelance photographer. I specialize in wild birds and landscapes. I'm still pretty unknown, though. It seemed absurd for him to introduce himself when I was just showing him to the shrine, but he gave me his name, so I need to give mine back. I'm Maibara. Pleased to meet you, I guess. Maibara-kun. Pleased to meet you. He seemed like a pretty silly man, but that felt kind of good considering I'd been suffocating with worry over Satoko all night. Well, if the last two chapters are an indication, he's going to leave you feeling suffocated for entirely different reasons by the time you and him and our nurse here, if we end up running into her again as well, and I have no reason to doubt that we will, end up talking about the oh-so-wonderful history of Hinamizawa and the Watanagashi Festival for the third time in a row. And maybe learn yet a few more new details about it that we didn't know before. Along the way, Tomitake-san spoke at length to me about how precious the nature in Hinamizawa was, and how it was a treasure trove of rare wild birds, despite my not having asked. I wasn't interested in what he had to say, but he seemed to be enjoying himself, so I left him to it.
この石段を上がれば神社の境内です。
These steps will take you to the shrine grounds.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
助かったよ。
You really helped me out.
ああ、ちょっと遅刻しちゃったかな。
I think I'm a little late. So you are going to meet up with somebody. It's gotta be your friend, right? As Tomitake-san mumbled to himself, he left his bicycle nearby and started to climb the stairs quickly. I didn't have a watch, but as far as my internal clock could guess, it was still a little late in the morning. School wasn't very far from here. Maybe I could kill a little more time until then. I think that's just the god of your universe declaring to you subconsciously, follow that man, so you can be exposed to exposition again. With that in mind, I went up the steps in pursuit of Tomitake-san. When I reached the top of the long staircase, I arrived at the wide open shrine grounds that were too grand looking for this tiny village. Tomitake-san. Oh, there he is. It looked like he was supposed to be meeting someone here. Then he got lost and ended up being late. He was bowing to a lady who must have been the person she was meeting. Nurse Takano? I fucking knew it! So yet again, you two are meeting up. Just like in the last 2 chapters. You know, on and off, I really have been trying to think about all the similar events that I remember seeing all the way up until now, throughout the first 2 chapters, and then what I've been seeing here so far. And, well, I'm trying to piece together every little bit of the mystery that I can here from the. But I'm not sure how far along I really am here to figuring out what's everybody's deal is and how it all relates to all these murders and curses and shit, or at least these enactment of curses that's going on here in this village. But I think I might be connecting at least a few dots here, even if I feel like I'm still far from getting a grasp on the full picture here. And on a related note, I've pretty much realized here that with me entertaining the idea of alternate timelines, time loops, and all that stuff, I'm kind of basically admitting in a way that there is definitely some supernatural elements that must be at play with whatever is going on here, which would kind of, well, put me in an awkward position because up until recently, I've been firmly on the position here that human culprits had to be at fault for everything that's going on here. But unless there are humans that have some access to some weird timey-wimey magic tricks or something like that, then at the very least, I don't think. If I'm gonna go with the time loop theory here, like I have been, and just keep going with it, then I'll have to acknowledge that there has to be some supernatural elements at play here too, if nothing else. Because I'm still not convinced that humans aren't involved somehow, or at least when it comes to a big deal as to what's going on here. So I just don't know how time loops could be connected to what's going on with the humans here in this area. The only clue I really have here is it must somehow relate to Hinamizawa's history. Well, supposedly in folklore legend and all that being founded by humans, demons, and their hybrid offspring and all that stuff. Everything that's been going on has just been tied to this village's unique history in some fashion. That can't be a coincidence. And again, if I insist on just going through the whole time loop thing, then by extension, maybe I need to start giving at least a little credence to the idea that there might be a kernel of truth behind these folklore tales of Hinamizawa too. Or at the very, I don't know. Or maybe it's just unrelated at all, and that this time loop thing here that I seem to be in, it might be a completely separate and unique phenomenon that's totally unrelated to Hinamizawa's history. Anyway, enough rambling from me. I really shouldn't just be trying to thrust all my current theories as to what's going on with the whole fucking story right here in the middle of what the hell we're about to see here. Forgive me.
あら、前原くんじゃない。
Oh, is that you, Maibara-kun?
こんにちは。
Hello there.
今日は学校はお休みかしら？
Are you off from school today? Not exactly.
あれ
What?
なんだ、ケイチ君ついてきたのかい？
Oh, my bar-kun, you followed me?
別にそんなつもりはないですよ。
I wasn't really planning to.
ただ、ちょっと時間潰しがしたかっただけです。
I just wanted to kill some time.
あらあら、
Oh my.
重役出勤とは優雅なものね。さすがは有名人。今から大物ぶりを発揮してること。
Arriving at work late like an executive. How refined. You certainly are famous, taking the time to look like a big shot. What was I, a celebrity? Well, you are basically the newcomer in this small secluded village. Well, she did say my name out of nowhere anyway. I was awfully concerned about what she meant by famous.
あら、私の名前はまだ思い出せない？
Oh, you still can't remember my name?
高野美代さんだよ。
This is Mio Takano-san. Okay, I think I did get it right then. Okay.
村の診療所に勤めてる。
She works at the village clinic.
ケイチ君は健康そうだから、あまり病院のお世話にはならないかな。
My bar-kun, you seem healthy, so you probably haven't been to the hospital much, have you?
せっかくお知り合いになれたんだから、今度病気か何かできたら、ちょっぴりだけサービスしてあげようかしらね。
Now that we're finally acquaintances, the next time you're sick or anything, I suppose I'll give you a little bit of special treatment. This lady named Takano-san. I kind of didn't remember her. Maybe we passed each other on the street a few times, but I was pretty sure this was the first time we talked. In this current timeline, anyway. Well, this is Hinamizawa. Even if I don't know a person's name, it's not unusual for them to know mine. I glanced at Takano-san, and saw she had a bag and a camera. Let me guess, you two are about to go look inside the little ritual storehouse, a little ways away from here, right? Gonna go sneak in there, take some pictures of all of the torture devices that are inside them, and well, just go from here. In fact, now that it's just crossed my mind, Takano, are you dead right now? Or are you actually alive? Because at the end of chapter 2, some Ushi came to me with some very, very interesting information regarding some results of surrounding your autopsy. And it suggested that you may have actually been already dead around the time of the Watanakashi festival, when you, me, Keiichi, Shion, and Tomitake all went on that little excursion into the shrine. But then again, how far away is the damn festival away from where we're currently at here in this loop? I don't remember. Maybe you're still alive, or maybe you're a zombie. I don't know which, but either way, I'd be very happy if you could give me some kind of clue as to your current level of vitality, so to speak.
ひょっとして二人とも写真仲間ですか？
Are you photography partners?
あ、それで待ち合わせを。
Was that why you were meeting each other?
仲間でなんてとんでもない。
Oh, we're nothing like partners.
素人の私に二郎さんが優しくてほどきをしてくださるだけなのよ。
I am but an amateur, and Jiro-san is gently initiating me into it.
ねえ。
Right.
そんなことないよ。
That's not it at all.
高野さんは飲み込みが早いからね。僕の指導なんかなくても、実に自由に撮影をこなすよ。
Takano-san is a quick learner. She could take pictures just fine without my guidance.
本当さ。
I mean it. I couldn't tell which of them was ahead in the conversation. Well, there was certainly one couple you wouldn't get tired of watching.
いよいよあさってが綿流しね。
The festival is coming up the day after tomorrow. Thank you! That's how soon it is.
今年はいい写真が撮れるといいんだけど。
I hope I can take some good pictures this year.
明日の設営シーンからレンズに収めるつもりだよ。
I plan on taking some shots of the setup tomorrow.
そういう準備風景からもお祭りの活力を捉えたいんだ。
I want to capture the festival energy shown by the preparations for it too. Oh. I just remembered. There's some village festival called Watanagashi or something the day after tomorrow, on Sunday.
ひなみ沢の守り神、お社様に感謝するため、古い布団を積み重ねて供養する、そんなお祭りでしたっけ？
They hold a service with a pile of old futons, in order to give thanks to Hinamizawa's guardian deity, or Shirasama. I think.
あら、ご名答。
Oh, you're correct.
前原くん、引っ越してきたばかりにしては博識ね。
You have quite extensive knowledge, despite having just moved here.
そう。お社様に感謝するためのお祭り。
Yes, it is a festival. To give thanks to Orishira-sama. So, are you going to school Keiichi here about the in-depth history behind the Watanagashi festival? Or is that something that we can save for another time? Takano-san smiled somehow meaningfully, but didn't tell me what part of a festival to think Orishira-sama needed to be laughed at.
やれやれ、高野さんは。
Cryptic as ever, Takano-san.
でも、どうだろうね、今年は。
It's alright. I already know about the whole thing with Watanagashi. I think. I don't need to be told twice. Or thrice. But I do wonder what will happen this year.
二度あることは三度ある。
You know what they say. If it happens twice, it'll happen a third time.
そしてもう四度あったのよ。
And it's already happened 4 times. Here we go. We're talking about the curse. And everything's going to start going downhill from here. Once Keiichi goes, What are you talking about?
5度目がないと言える方が何の根拠もないと思うけれど。
I think there's less evidence that it won't happen a 5th time. Don't you think? I knew what they meant by their whispered exchange. Oh wait, that's right, you already know about it this time. Forgot about that. Come on, Neo. Keep your facts straight. On the day of Watanagashi, a freak death always occurs, which people call Orishira-sama's curse. And a disappearance occurs that people call being demoned away. These strange events had happened 4 years running. In Watanagashi, rapidly approaching the day after tomorrow, marked the 5th.
村の旧敵にたたりをなすお社様か。
Orishira-sama puts a curse on enemies of the village, huh?
今年もあるとして、果たしてその矛を受けるのは誰になるだろうね。
If it does happen this year, I wonder, who will find themselves at gunpoint? Well, I hope for your sake, it is just simply a gun that you have to deal with. Because you ended up biting the bullet without fail the last 2 times.
あ、僕はここに来るたびにちゃんとお参りして、お賽銭を入れてる。
Well, assuming it happens a 3rd time in a row with you. Oh, and I always come here to pray and donate money whenever I visit.
僕じゃないことは確かだよ。
It won't be me for sure. Don't jinx it, man.
あらそう？
Oh, is that so?
近年のお社様は違法人には特に厳しいって話よ。
They say that Orishiro-sama has been especially harsh on outsiders recently, you know.
引っ越してきたばかりとはいえ、前原くんはちゃんとひなみ沢に住んでる村人だけど。
Meibaru-kun may have only just moved in, but he's a proper member of Hinamizawa. Then that just would kind of make the whole conflict with Chapter 1 kind of tragically hilarious in hindsight, wouldn't it? If I really was truly considered an official proper member of Hinamizawa, it would just basically prove that it was all Keishi's and mine's paranoia that made us think otherwise.
二郎さんは毎年来るだけのただのよそ者。
But you, Jiro-san, are a stranger who only comes once a year.
さーて、今年は見逃してもらえるかしら。
I wonder, will he let you go this year?
ひどいな。
That's harsh. Tomitake-san was the only one with a pained grin, but we were all smiling. We all were smiling, me included. Orishiro-sama, the one who used the curse to kill people involved in the dam construction project, one after the next. He killed the dam construction manager, killed Satoko's parents for supporting it, and the next year he even killed her aunt. The demon in away was part of that curse. If the demon in away part was part of that curse, then you could add Satoshi to the list of victims. As I thought about it, I realized that in the serial freak death incidents, the overwhelming majority had the last name Hoju. Half of the deaths and disappearances had come from the Hoju family. The Hoju family lived here in Hinamizawa. Did that mean Orishiro-sama punished and cursed them particularly harshly because despite that, they'd been in favor of the dam? Well,
Satokoのおじが帰ってきたって話は聞いてますか?
Well, it would make sense to me from a vengeful god's perspective. You know, you betraying their land, their creation, and the rest of your people and all that. Have you heard the news that Satoko's uncle has returned? Takano-san, who had been enjoying a few words with Tomitake-san, was caught unaware by my sudden inquiry.
あ、ごめんなさい。
Oh, I'm sorry.
今なんて?
What was that?
いえ、Satokoの両親がたたり殺されて、おばもたたり殺されて。
Satoko's parents were killed by the curse, and her aunt too.
だったら順番的には次はおじの番かなって思ったんです。
So I was wondering if you went in order. Her uncle would be next.
去年のたたりでおばが無残な死に方をし、それに恐れをなして町に逃げていたやつですよ。
Her aunt had a miserable death from the curse last year, and her uncle let his fear take over and fled into town, right?
お社様は確か村を捨てて逃げ出そうとするのは許さなかったですよね。
Orishiro-sama doesn't allow people to try and abandon the village, does he? That is a fair point, when you look at it from that perspective. I didn't intend to be quite this persistent. But those words, they just float out of my mouth without me thinking about it. Right. Orishiro-sama's curse. I didn't believe in something so unrealistic, of course. But the fact that it was every year, unfortunate accidents and incidents happened to enemies of the village. Like Takano-san said just now, it had happened 4 times. No one could say there wouldn't be a 5th.
面白い説ね。
That's an interesting suggestion.
確かに過去の犠牲者を見れば北条生が多いのは事実。
It is true that if you look at those sacrificed in previous years, those named Hoju come up quite frequently.
その延長として考えれば 今年は叔父が死ぬか消えるかする可能性は否めないわね。
Given how long it's gone on for, her uncle being the one to die or disappear this year isn't out of the question. I just hope for Satoko's sake that she isn't included in this year's curse too. Because, I mean, she does have the same last name. You sure like laughing at all the misfortune that could possibly go on because of these curses, don't you, Takano?
もう高野さんは
Are you actually enjoying this? Not again, Takano-san.
起こるかもしれない不幸を笑うのは良くないよ。
Don't laugh about it. It could really happen.
ごめんなさいね。
I'm sorry.
でもお社様のたたりは私のライフワークだし。
But Orishiro-sama's curse is my life's work. Wait a minute. If Orishiro-sama's curse is your life's work, then does that mean that you are the mastermind behind all the curse shenanigans these last 2 chapters? It is your life's work, and if you were so devoted about it that you would make it look like as though it was the work of a supernatural curse, then, well, I have my prime suspect. When it comes to okay, maybe not my prime suspect. I mean, I guess there's Mion and all that, but I have my number 1 suspect here because she admitted it. That Orishiro-sama's curse is her life's work. Case closed. Found the culprit. Let's arrest her, and then everybody can move on with their lives all in peace. Please until the next time loop starts. Takano-sen gave off a mysterious, somehow intellectual impression. And her life's work was mysterious in its own right. She probably really liked inexplicable supernatural phenomena or something. Does she know anything about time loops?
高野さんはお社様のたたりに詳しそうですね。
Takano-san, you seem like you know a lot about Orishiro-sama.
どうでしょう。
Give me your honest thoughts.
北条の帰ってきた叔父がたたりに遭う可能性は。
Given that he's a Hoju and that he's returned, what are the chances that the uncle will fall to the curse?
あら何？
My, what?
そのおじさんを殺したくて仕方がないみたいね。
You seem like you really want this uncle of hers dead. To be fair, he's far from the only one. I mean, the guy's not exactly a walking mass of kittens.
そんなんじゃないです。
That's not.
どうだろうね。
I wonder.
神様の気まぐれ次第だからね。
It all depends on the whims of God.
前原くん、
My Barakun,
サンタクロースの正体は知ってる？
do you know the true identity of Santa Claus? Huh? I got a strange question all of a sudden, and I couldn't immediately answer.
なに？知らないの？
What? You don't know?
パパよ。
It's your daddy.
みんなの家のパパ。
The daddy's in everyone's family.
なんだ。
What?
そういう意味ですか。
That's what you meant.
そりゃそうですよ。
Well, of course.
どんなものの正体だって最終的には人間です。
Everything ultimately comes down to humans in the end.
だってここは人間しかいない世界なんですから。
That's what I thought too, but until I started giving the whole time loop theory more credence. Now I'm not so sure if it's just humans. After all, humans are the only ones living in the world.
すべての現象は人間で解明できるはずです。
All strange things should be explainable in terms of human actions. I felt like I put that somewhat strangely, but Takano-san was not as dissatisfied with that reply as I might have guessed.
あら、その年齢のうちからそれに気づけるなんてなかなかね。その通りよ。
It's impressive that you've caught on to that at such a young age. You're right.
人間の世で起こる現象は、すべて人間の都合で人間が起こす。
Strange things that happen in the world of man are all caused by man for his own benefit.
では前原くん、もう一度尋ねるわよ。
Maibara-kun, I'll ask you again then.
今度はサンタクロースじゃなくて、お社様。
This time, not Santa Claus, but Orishiro-sama.
お社様のたたりの正体は何かわかるかしら？
Do you know anything about who Orishiro-sama is? Do you know anything? Serious question. I'm not trying to be ironic and humorous about it this time. Takano-san took a step towards me and gazed into my eyes as she asked, Santa Claus was really the parents of every family's children. If lionizing that legend was a corporate tactic to try and profit during Christmas sales, then what was Orishiro-sama really?
あら、あなたが言ったのよ。
Oh? Didn't you already say?
ここは人間しかいない世界だって。
There are only humans in this world.
すべての現象は人間で解明できるって。
Everything can be explained by human actions, right?
圭一君、
Maibara-kun,
ここだけの話だよ。
keep this to yourself, okay?
高野さんはね、お社様のたたりをめぐる一連の連続開始事件をね、
The string of freak death incidents attributed to Orishiro-sama's curse.
ひなみ沢の村人が何かの儀式に基づいて行っている人為的殺人事件でないかと見ているんだよ。
Takano-san's view is that they may be premeditated homicides performed by the people of Hinamizawa and based on some kind of ceremony. Well, that's essentially my theory too. At least as things currently stand.
誤解しないでね。
No, don't misunderstand me.
私はそれに至る教義や思想、文化を民族学的見地から研究することがライフワークなの。
My life's work is to research teachings, thoughts, and cultures from the viewpoint of folklorism.
別に犯人が誰かなんてことには全く興味がないのよ。
I don't really care at all about who the culprit really is.
そこだけ勘違いしないでちょうだいね。
I'm sure you will care once the culprit comes knocking at your door or at the back of your head, wherever you are at the time, and be like, "Time to die!" Assuming you too end up kicking the bucket again for the third time in a row, along with Tomitake here. Just keep that in mind, please. I could tell at least that she was saying some crazy stuff. If I were to liken her statements to a meal, it would be sort of like she just tried to stuff a whole plate of duck into my mouth. Now I couldn't say anything. That poor duck, being stuffed down your gullet. What cruel woman would do such a thing?
そもそもそれを理解するためには、ひなみ沢村が鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれていた古代にまで遡らなければならない。
To understand that in the first place, you have to go all the way back to ancient times, when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, or the Demon's Abyss.
鬼と血を交わらせたと信じる半人半鬼の仙人たちが。
The Transcendents who lived there believed themselves to carry the blood of demons, and so were only half human. Takano-san, having entered her home field, leaned forward and began to speak of ridiculous matters. Tomitake-san realized she was overawing me and interrupted for me.
高野さん、高野さん。
Takano-san. Takano-san.
その話をいきなり圭一君にしても。
You can't just chatter on about that stuff to Maibara-kun.
ほら、彼も面食らってるよ。
Look, he's really confused.
あら、そう？
Oh my. Are you?
続きに興味があったらいつでも言ってね。
If you want to hear more, ask me anytime. You are a native resident to Hinamizawa, aren't you, Takano? Even though you've pretty much made your stance on folklore tales quite clear, I do find it interesting how open you are about a lot of the, frankly, this village's dirty laundry to anybody who would apparently ask you about it. I can't imagine that there are a whole lot of people, if they know you well enough, who appreciate you being that way. Because, I mean, it doesn't exactly paint Hinamizawa in a pretty light. So, and you're also most certainly aware of the whole general attitude that the village has towards these whole tales, frankly, and how outsiders might perceive them. You clearly understand that, so it just really makes me wonder, why are you so open about it?
前原くんくらいの年頃の男の子が好きそうな猟奇的なお話がてんこ盛りなんだから。
I have heaps of the grotesque stories that boys your age seem to love hearing.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
気が向いたらそのうちに。
If I feel like it, I will. For now, I softly and safely gave my refusal. Takano-san seemed a little unhappy that Tomitake-san had rained on her parade, but she stopped talking about it then. Even so, it was still a very interesting story. The Orishiro-sama's curse, which we thought of as strange, freak deaths, were really homicides, perpetrated by the people of the village.
まあ常識的に考えればそうですよね。
Well, I mean, if you thought about it logically, it would have to be.
たたりなんかで人が死ぬはずない。
People wouldn't be dying because of curse.
誰かがたたりになぞらえて殺してるに決まってます。
Someone's obviously killing people and making it look like one.
そうね。
Indeed.
それが誰なのかは研究しない方が無難ね。
As for who that is, it might be safer not to try and find out.
高野さんは知ってそうですね。
You seem like you know, Takano-san.
証拠はないまでも確信を持っているくらいには。
You may not have proof, but you seem like you believe it.
あら、どうしてそう思うのかしら。
Oh my. Why do you think that? I just kind of felt it vaguely. It didn't seem like her extreme passion for this research could be explained just by these things being taboo, or being safe and easy. This person loved walking through the profound, forbidden abyss of risks and taboos. This Hinamizawa is especially, frankly.
それくらいにしなよ、圭一君。
Let's leave it at that, Keiichi-kun.
せっかく助けてあげたのに、またお社様のたたりの話が始まっちゃうよ。
I just helped you escape, and now you're trying to talk about Orishiro-sama again.
涼しいうちに散策に行きたかったのにな。
I wanted to take a nice walk while it was still cool. Tomitake-san seemed a little disappointed not to be able to go on the date he'd planned since I brought up a weird topic. But right now, there was something I wanted to ask, just for a little bit. And that was about whether Satoko's uncle would be chosen for the curse this year. If he was, then another miracle would happen just like last year. terrible incident would happen again, but would release Satoko from her unfortunate circumstances once more.
まあ
Well,
もちろんおそらくあの辺りの人たちが関わってるんだろうなっていう憶測は持ってるわよ。
I do have a few suspicions as to the kind of people who would probably become involved, of course. Do they wear glasses, a baseball cap, and wear dog tags?
鬼ヶ淵村の歴史を研究していれば自然と至る必然的結末。
It's a natural, inevitable conclusion for anyone who's researched the history of Onikafuchi village.
それは誰です？
Who do you mean? What would I do if I knew? I asked that question to the other me deep inside, but got no reply.
熱心ね。
How enthusiastic.
それを知ってどうするつもりかしら？
What would you do if you knew?
別に。
Nothing really.
知ったらあなたにも危険が降りかかるかもしれないわよ。
If you found out, you might get into danger yourself, you know.
5年目のたたりはあなただったりして。
Maybe the 5th year's curse would be you. Takano-san, toying with taboo, gave a devilish, satisfied smile, as though nothing in the world would be more amusing. Well, logically speaking, it shouldn't be me, because the whole idea behind the curse was to punish, well, enemies of the village, and lately outsiders. And we've already just now established that Keiichi technically isn't an outsider, even though he's moved here recently. He's basically an official member of the village. So, it can't be him. But if I could also apply the same reasoning to what happened during Chapter 1, then how does that explain all the visions he saw and how he ended up dying in the end? Assuming all that was supernatural and not just, I don't know, something his mind was conjuring up, like what I initially thought. She was probably trying to tease me, but I didn't feel like going along for a little game one bit.
偉そうな能書きでもったいぶってますが、高野さんだってよくは分かってないみたいじゃないですか。
You like to talk pretty big, but you don't really know yourself, do you, Takano-san? I had felt a tinge of irritation at Takano-san's roundabout way of speaking, but those emotions escaped my mouth, like water flowing through a strainer. Even I was surprised at how directly I'd spoken out about what I felt. Of course, I wasn't the only one taken aback.
あら、
Oh my,
言ってくれるわね。
you're something.
坊やなのに挑発までできるの？
You may be just a boy, but you can still provoke people.
意外に野生的ね。
How unexpectedly rugged.
嫌いじゃないわよ、そういうの。
I don't dislike people like that, you know. Move over, Tomitake. I am now the Alpha. Takano-san's tongue poked out of her mouth, but I was convinced that it was long, thin, and split in the middle like a snake's.
ならいいわ。
Alright,
教えてあげてもよくってよ。
I'll tell you then.
でも教えてあげる前に3つ誓ってもらうわ。
But you have to promise me 3 things first.
私が何を教えても後悔しない。
1. Not to regret it, no matter what I tell you.
口外しない。
2. Not to tell it to anyone.
私が言ったなんて絶対言わない。
3. Not to tell anyone I told you. Why would you care, though? If you're just... your attitude about just divulging all this village's dirty secrets to anyone who just asks here, and what you're asking me to do now here, it just seems a bit contradictory. Like, why would you care now about making sure that word of this doesn't not only get out into the village, but trace back to you? I gulped firmly and nodded. Tomitake-san made an exaggerated expression of distress, gave a dry, vague smile, and lit a cigarette.
教えてください。
Please tell me,
たたりを下しているのは誰です？
who's putting this curse on people?
たたる相手を選んでいるのは誰なんです？
Who is it? Who's deciding who gets cursed? After I said that, I finally realized why I wanted to know. And right here we cut things off, huh? Quite the cliffhanger to leave things on. And now we finally get to school. So, what'd she tell you? Many of my classmates were playing freely in the schoolyard. A few of them had just run out of the school building after putting on their shoes and tapping their toes to the ground. It looked like they had just finished eating lunch. From a time manipulating standpoint, I guess I succeeded.
前原さん、
Oh, Maibara-san,
大丈夫なんですか？
are you okay? A few girls noticed me and came running over. It was only natural they were worried. You'd think if someone who wasn't there in the morning, they'd be out the rest of the day.
まあ遅刻さ。
Well, I'm just late for school.
気にしないでくれ。
Don't worry about it.
それより聡子はどうだ？
Anyway, what about Satoko?
今日は来てるか？
Did she come today? The girls exchanged glances. I saw a thin shadow fall over their faces and knew the answer without needing to hear them reply. Satoko was absent today, too. When all was said and done, after being out 3 days, she'd only come back for 1. And now she was out again. Who knew she would come tomorrow?
うん。
Yeah,
でも、さとこちゃんから電話があったって先生言ってました。
but the teacher said she got a phone call from Satoko-chan. Hey, uncle! You can't even be bothered to make the phone calls yourself?
風邪って言ってたよね。
She said she had a cold.
みんな家に帰ったらうがいをちゃんとしましょうって先生言ってました。
Chi-sensei said everyone should make sure to rinse their mouths out really well. Wait a minute, Chi-sensei. That's a little too thick-headed, don't you think? You're a teacher, aren't you? Why can't you be more sensitive and catch on to the fact that your pupil is sending out an SOS? I think maybe she does, but, well, it's just like with you and literally everybody else. Your hands are tied. But even if she did, there was nothing we could hope for. The most she could do was a home visitation. She didn't have any right to take Satoko from her uncle into safety. No matter the result, it would end up just like the public agencies, with a wait-and-see attitude. It would just piss Satoko's uncle off, and her suffering would only grow deeper. Then wasn't saying she had a cold the best option?
そうだな。
She's right.
みんなも風邪に気をつけろよ。
Be careful not to catch a cold. Got it?
もう行っていいぜ。
You can go now.
昼休みはまだ長いぞ。
There's still plenty of time left in lunch break. The girls excitedly scattered into the schoolyard.
ケイチくん！
Oh, Keiichi-kun! Reina was yelling out the classroom window, waving her hand. A moment later, Mion and Rika-chan poked their heads out too.
圭一までお休みしましたから、とても心配しましたのですよ。
We were very worried that even you would be absent today.
でもよかった。
Thank goodness.
顔色もそんなに悪くないし、とりあえず元気そう。
You don't seem sick. You look pretty okay. I felt a little uncomfortable for saying that I didn't look sick, but I didn't care that much.
どうしたの？
What happened?
寝坊？
Overslept? Yes, actually.
遅刻は遅刻だろ。
Well, late is late.
それとも電車の事故で遅刻したとでも言えば許してくれるのか？
Think if I said I was late because of a train accident, she'd let it slide?
寝坊？
You overslept. Mion was being a bit persistent. Was she going to put on her club president cap and scold me for being late? Well, maybe she didn't have it in for me, so I briefly stated that she was right.
まだね、お弁当あるよ。
There's still more bento.
みんなで食べよう。
Everyone eat up.
やっぱりね、圭一くんがいないと盛り上がらないよね。
Without Keiichi-kun here, we couldn't have any fun.
さとこは休みなんだな。
Satoko. Still absent, huh? Even Reina, feigning cheerfulness, couldn't stand to hear that, and her face darkened.
朝、電話があったらしいよ。
She called this morning.
風がぶり返したから、また休むってさ。
Apparently she said her cold came back, and she was staying home again.
長引くかもしれないって言ってた。
She said it might go on for a while, too.
かわいそうなので、みんなでお見舞いに行こうという話が出ていますのですよ。
She must be sad, so we were all talking about going to visit. I think she might like that, actually.
何言ってんだよ、リカちゃん。
What are you saying, Rika-chan? Not pleased of Rika-chan wearing a wide smile as though it was a happy occasion, I threw cold water on her. Don't throw cold water on the small child!
さとこが風邪なんかじゃないことは俺たちが一番知ってるだろう。
We know best of all she doesn't have a cold, don't we?
たとえ冗談でも二度とそういう白々しいことを言うな。
Don't ever tell a fib like that again, even as a joke.
次は怒るからな。
I'll get mad next time. Calm down. You're gonna make everybody mad at you again if you get over emotional like you did last time. Rika-chan furrowed her brow, looked down, and mumbled an apology. Don't apologize to this buffoon.
圭一くんだけじゃないよ。
It's not just you, Keiichi-kun.
みんな辛いよ。
It's hard for everyone.
俺だけが悩んでるなんて思ってない。
I know I'm not the only one worrying. You're just not worrying as much as I am.
でもみんな何もできないのは本当だろ。
But none of us can do anything either, can we?
それはそうだけど。
That's true, but...
でも...
But... I got the feeling I would cause another fight if this exchange went on. So I apologized first.
ごめん。
Sorry.
謝るから今の話は忘れてくれ。
Sorry. So forget about what I just said.
辛いのはみんなも同じだよな。
It's hard for everyone, right?
ああ。
It must be. It was at least clear, however, that I was the only one who had worried so much about rescuing her. Maybe to you, with your blinders on, but not to me. I'm sure they all want to rescue her too, but, well, they can't. At the very least, everyone else probably got the normal amount of sleep last night. Probably had good dreams too. They definitely hadn't stayed up all night thinking so desperately.
登校してきていきなりこんなこと聞いて気を悪くするかもしれないけど。
I know it might not be what you want to hear right after you get to school.
ケイちゃん、今日遅刻したよね。
But you were late today, Kei-chan.
サトコが今日欠席したこととは関係ある？
Did it have anything to do with Satoko being absent? Indirectly, yes.
は？
Huh?
ミオ、お前何の話してるんだ？
Mion, what are you talking about?
ケイちゃんはたまにちょっとつ盲信なところがあるからね。
Sometimes you act kind of foolhardy, Kei-chan. Sometimes?
今朝、サトコと一緒にケイちゃんも休んだ時、
When both you and her were absent this morning,
サトコを家から連れ出してどこかにかくまったんじゃないかって
we
本気
seriously
で思った。
we seriously thought you might have kidnapped her and hidden her somewhere. They know what sort of crazy plans you might come up with. They know you so well. Doesn't that just warm your heart? Easy for you to say. If I could have, I'd have done that last night. None of them had really thought about how difficult that clear-as-day solution was. I was up thinking all night, thinking until the night was brightening. And then, I concluded that I couldn't do anything of the sort.
バカかお前。
Don't be dumb.
人間一人かくまうなんて
I
で
couldn't,
きるもんかよ。
I couldn't hide someone.
そうだね。
You're right.
ごめん。
I'm sorry.
気を悪くしたなら謝るよ。
I apologize if I upset you.
別にいいよ。
Don't worry about it.
それより飯にしようぜ。
Anyway, let's eat some food.
腹が減ってんだ。
I'm starving. I took my bento box out of my bag. Everyone moved to make a spot for me to sit.
前原くん、
Hello, Sensei.
今来たんですか？
Did you just get here? No, I've just been hiding in the corner of the room wearing camouflage this whole time. And just as I was about to stick my chopsticks in, Chi-sensei came along.
あ、はい。
Yeah.
遅刻してすみません。
Sorry for being late.
寝坊しまして。
I overslept. What the heck? Even the teacher was giving me that strange look. Did you forget how loud you were being about the whole freaking topic in school yesterday, man? You were practically screaming your lungs out.
お弁当を食べたら、院長と前原くんは職員室に来てください。
When you're finished eating, could you and the president come to the teacher's lounge?
ちょっとお話がありますので。
There's something I want to talk about. Probably about Satoko, I thought. Or, for all you know, she wants to get me on to put you on a short leash. Because, well, you overslept, number one, and number two, she doesn't trust you to not do anything stupid. Satoko, whether it's related to Satoko or not. Sensei left it at that and went back into the hallway.
弁当を食うまでもないだろ。
Eating lunch can wait.
行こうぜ、ミオ。
Let's go, Mion.
そうだね。
You're right. Mion and I exchanged looks, nodded to each other, and got up.
さとこちゃんの話だろうね。
It's probably about Satoko-chan. No doubt about it. They were saying she had a cold, but everyone in class knew the truth. I didn't think they wouldn't have reached the teacher's ears by now.
僕がずっととぼけるので、僕に聞くのをやめたのでしょう。
I kept playing dumb, so I think she gave up asking me. Revealing the truth to the teacher would only worsen the situation. Was that why she hadn't said anything? Or was it because she was Satoko's friend and knew that she was trying to endure the trial of her uncle's abuse in order to get her brother to come home?
どうする？
I think she would be aware of that. I mean, these two are pretty close. What should we do?
今のうちに私たちなりの統一見解を出した方がいいかもね。
Maybe we should use this chance to get a collective opinion.
リカちゃんはどうしたい？
What do you want to do, Rika-chan?
Me.
We got one vote for Meep. Thoughts? Satoko's closest and best friend was Rika-chan. However much I pretended to be her Nini, it didn't come close to the amount of time they'd spent together. So I felt like her opinion should be held in the highest regard.
俺はサトコがどうしておじにいじめられてるのを耐えてるか知ってる。
I know. Why Satoko is enduring her uncle's torture. Everyone looked startled and turned to me.
昔のサトコはいじめられるときっと泣きながら兄の背中に隠れてた。
Back then, whenever Satoko was abused, she probably cried and hid behind her brother.
でも結局そのせいで兄が逃げてしまったんだとサトコは思ってる。
But Satoko thinks that, in the end, that's why her brother ran away.
誰に聞いたのかな？
Who did you hear that from?
監督か。
The coach, I bet. I nodded quietly.
サトコはおじのいじめに耐えれば兄が帰ってくると信じることによって今を耐え抜こうとしているのかもしれない。
Satoko believes her brother will come back if she can withstand the abuse. Maybe that's why she's trying to push through.
でもそんな思い込みとサトシが帰ってくるのは
But
全く無関係なことだ。
that assumption has nothing to do with Satoshi coming back.
サトコには悪いがそれが現実だ。
It hurts to say that about Satoko, but it's the truth. Everyone hung their heads. Everyone was thinking the same thing.
サトコは多分誰の助けも喜ばない。
Satoko probably won't be happy no matter who helps her.
自分一人の力で耐え忍びたいと思ってる。
She wants to withstand everything of her own strength.
でもそれを尊重してやるのが果たして正しいだろうか。
But is it really right to respect that?
俺は思わない。
I don't think it is.
一時サトコに恨まれることになろうとサトコの意志に関わらず助けるべき時があると思う。
Even if Satoko hates us for a while, I think there will come a time when we need to save her against her will.
俺はそれが今じゃないかと思ってる。
And I think that time might be now. I told them all about what I saw and how I felt when I went to Satoko's house yesterday.
ケイチ君は話すべきだと思ってるってことだね。
Keiichi-kun, so you think we should tell someone?
もちろん公的機関への通報でサトコが保護されるのが確定してからだ。
Of course, only after we're sure that reporting it to a public agency will guarantee your safety.
その確認のないうちはサトコをかえって危険にさらすこともありえるからな。
Without being sure of that, it could just get more dangerous for her instead.
難しいね。
It's a difficult problem.
先生との会話の中でその確約ってのが取れるわけ？
You think we can get a definite promise out of the teacher? I had no confidence, but we had to try. Meanwhile, Rika-chan had her hand raised for a while, as if asking for an opportunity to speak.
ケイチに任せますです。
I will leave it to Keiichi.
いいのかいリカちゃん。
Is that okay, Rika-chan?
ケイチは ここにいる誰よりも聡子のことを考えていますです。
Keiichi is thinking about Satoko more than anybody else here.
その圭一が話すべき時だと判断したなら、
That doesn't
僕
necessarily
は文句なんか言わないのですよ。
that doesn't necessarily make him the most qualified here to make a decision on this. Just saying. If Keiichi thinks that we need to tell someone, then I have no complaints.
ありがとう。ミオンもレナもそれでいいか？
Thanks. Mion, Reina, are you okay with that? Mion seemed to hesitate, not knowing if she should agree. But when she saw Reina's firm nod, she made up her mind and did the same.
よし、
Okay,
行くぞ、ミオン。
let's go, Mion. Right. Omichi-sensei was in the teacher's lounge. We didn't see the principal anywhere. The schedule on the blackboard under the principal's name said, Training. Going straight home. Our principal's sense of justice was too strong. Satoko's problems wouldn't be solved with something so vague. Maybe it was a stroke of good luck that he wasn't here. When the teacher saw Mion and I come in, she closed up her curry bento, saving the rest for later.
そこへおかけなさい。
Sit over there, please. She told us to take a seat in the chairs directly in front of the principal's seat. I hadn't sat in this chair since doing the paperwork for transferring in. Two of us sat there uncomfortably, for the teacher walked over carrying a notebook and a ballpoint pen and sat in front of us.
前原くん、今日は午前中お休みでしたけど、何かありましたか？
Nabara-kun, you were absent this morning. Did something happen?
すみません、寝坊です。
I'm sorry. I overslept.
本当に？
Really?
先生に嘘言っても。
I have no reason to lie. She narrowed her eyes at me in suspicion. Now I was sure of it. She wanted to talk about Satoko.
まず、二人とも知ってると思いますけど、お友達の北条さんがここしばらくお休みしてますね。
In any case, I think you two already know, but your friend Hojo-san has been away frequently lately. Neither Mion nor I had anything to say in response. But the teacher proceeded, not minding.
何か知っていますか？
Would you happen to know anything?
クラスで良くない噂をしている人たちがいます。
There are some people in class spreading bad rumors. Mion looked down and remained silent, as though she were being lectured. She sent me a quick glance. Everyone had made up their minds. They'd be leaving things to me.
委員長？
Mion-kun?
前原くんも。
Or you, Maibara-kun?
先生は別に怒ってるんじゃありませんよ。
I won't get mad or anything, okay?
もしも知っていたら、教えてほしいとお願いしているだけです。
If you know something, I just want you to tell me.
先生、
Sensei,
先にこっちから質問してもいいですか？
can we ask you a question first? She must not have anticipated that response. She looked surprised.
クラス中で聡子のどんな噂が飛び交ってるかは知りませんが、
I don't know what rumors are going around about Satoko in class.
仮にその噂が真実だったとして、先生はどうするつもりですか？
But if those rumors happen to be true, what would you do, Sensei?
どうするもこうするも、
Well, what would I do?
その話が本当なら放っておけません。
If it's true, then I can't leave it alone.
放っておけないって、具体的にはどう放っておけないんですか？
Can't leave what alone exactly? What would you do? Sensei's eyebrows shot up. Maybe I said it like I was trying to pick a fight.
前原くん、
My Bara-kun,
先生は真面目にお話ししてるんですよ。
I'm being serious here.
先生こそ、
So am I.
俺はすごく真面目な話をしているんです。
I'm also being completely serious right now.
まず答えてください。
Please answer me.
真実だったとして、どう放っておけないんです？
If it were true, what wouldn't you leave alone? Sensei took a few breaths, then began to speak slowly.
まず
First,
状況を確かめるために北条さんの家を家庭訪問します。
I'd have to visit Hojo-san's house to confirm the situation.
おじに怒鳴りつけられて追い返されるかもしれませんね。
Her uncle might get mad and drive you away, though.
まあいいや。
Well, okay.
仮におじと聡子に会えたとします。
Let's say you did meet with Satoko and her uncle.
それで
Then what?
そして真意を聞きます。
Then I'd ask whether it was true.
その事実が確認できたなら指導します。
Once I got the facts, I'd go from there.
指導って曖昧な言い方はやめてください。
Please stop talking so vaguely.
具体的には何をするんです
What
か？
exactly would you do? Even despite my tone being so provocative, Chi-sensei bit back her emotions and listened calmly. I thought then that she was a good teacher. Chi-sensei really did have her students' best interests at heart. But she didn't have the power or the authority to save Satoko. If she let her sense of justice run away with her, the situation could get more complex. I could say the same exact thing to you, my friend. Sensei folded her arms, and for a few moments, she closed her eyes as though mentally concentrating. And when they opened again, there was a strictness in her eyes I'd never seen before.
児童福祉法という法律があります。
There's a law called the Child Welfare Law.
この法律で児童に対する虐待は何人に対しても認められていないことが明記されています。
It clearly states that abuse against children will not be allowed, no matter who it is.
らしいですね。
So it would seem.
それで
Then what?
沖宮の生活相談所へ通報します。
I'd contact the Okinomiya Child Consultation Center.
さっき前原くんは追い返されると言いましたね。
You said just now that I would be turned away, didn't you?
この相談所の職員は必要に応じて警察官を同行させることができます。
Child welfare officers can bring the police with them if the situation demands.
恫喝には絶対に屈しません。
They will not submit to intimidation.
その福祉士というお役所の人は連絡して書類で申請して何日後に助けに来てくれるんです？
How many days would it take after you contact a social worker and submit the paperwork for her to be saved?
即日です。
It would be the same day.
彼らの仕事は児童の安全を緊急に保護することですから。
Their job is to guarantee the immediate safety of children.
知ってますよ。
I know that.
緊急性があると判断された場合ですよね。
That's if they decide there's an urgent need.
認められなかったら先生と同じ。
If they didn't, then they'd do the same as you.
指導をして様子見をするんですよね。
They'd go from there. They just wait and see, right?
見てるだけ。
They just watch.
聡子のおじの機嫌を悪くして聡子をその場に残したままそれっきり。
It would make Satoko's uncle's mood sour, and Satoko would be stuck with him there.
ケイちゃん、ちょっと言い過ぎ。
Kei-chan, that's going a little too far.
嘘はついてないだろ。
I'm not lying, am I?
去年だか一昨年だかに児童相談所が来た時が
Last
まさ
year,
にそうだったんだ
or
ろ。
the year before, whatever. That's exactly what happened when the child welfare people came, isn't it?
その結果どうなった？
And what happened then?
俺よりもミオや先生の方がよっぽどよく知ってるだろうが。
You and Sensei would know about it a lot better than I would. I had said too much. I didn't need Mion to tell me that. I was talking crazy and itching for a fight. I was supposed to be telling her about the situation only after I was sure we could save Satoko, but I basically told her everything right from the start. Chi-sensei looked at the clock, stood up, and picked up the phone at the principal's seat.
もしもし、
Hello.
内線の3455をお願いします。
Put me through to extension 3455, please.
いいのケイちゃん。
Is this okay, Kei-chan?
本当に大丈夫かな。
Is this really okay? Honestly, my gut instinct tells me no. It's gonna make things... I'm pretty sure it's gonna make things a lot worse. It was too late. The dice had been cast. Now we could only pray.
お世話になっております。
Oh, thank you for answering my call.
ひなみ沢文庫教諭の千恵と申しますが、指導室の渡辺主事はいらっしゃいますでしょうか。
I'm Chi, a licensed teacher at the Hinamizawa Branch School. Would Director Watanabe happen to be in the guidance office?
はい、ええ。
Yes, that's right.
ちょっと急用がございまして、至急校長と連絡が取りたいのですが。
Something urgent came up, so I'd like to contact the principal as soon as I can.
はい。
Yes.
お願いします。
Thank you.
緊急とお伝えください。
Please tell him immediately.
よろしくお願いします。
Yes, thank you. The teacher put down the phone and tilted her head back and took a breath, like I always did.
二人にもう一度だけ聞きます。
I'll ask the two of you again.
クラスのみんなの噂はすべて本当なんですね。
Are the rumors going around in class really true?
はい。
Yes.
俺は昨日Satokoの家に行って実際にどういうことになっているのか見ました。
Yesterday I went to Satoko's house, and I saw for myself just how bad it really is.
あとは先生に任せてください。
You can leave the rest to me.
Satokoちゃんはきっと先生が何とかします。
I'll definitely do something for Satoko-chan.
なんとか
Something.
いい加減なことを言わないでください。
Please stop saying such ambiguous things.
なんとかじゃない。絶対でなければならない。
Not something. We had to save
も
her.
しもまた様子見なんてことになったら、
If they end up
先生はどう責任を取るつもりですか。
if they end up deciding to wait and see again, how do you plan on taking responsibility? While I was yelling, the phone rang. Chi-sensei snatched the receiver up first.
もしもし、
Hello?
研修中申し訳ありません。
Oh. I apologize for interrupting your training.
はい。
Yes.
実は例の北条Satokoさんの件でお話が。
Actually, it's about the issue with Satoko Hoju-san.
はい。
Yes. Sensei waved us away, telling us we could leave now. Mion went to leave, but I held my ground. I had a responsibility to make sure she stopped saying such vague, ambiguous things. You could do that by listening outside the goddamn door. And I'm just now noticing that there is a genie's lamp on top of the desk lamp. How did I not notice that until now? If it didn't look like she was going to say anything substantial, then I'd tell them the truth, even if I had to steal the phone from her.
はい。
Yes.
いえ、まだ相談所には。
No, I haven't contacted them yet.
はい。
Yes.
まだ確認はしていませんが、クラスのこの話では相当な様子です。
I haven't confirmed it, but it seems pretty bad from what the children are saying.
相当なんてもんじゃないぞ。
It's not just pretty bad!
すぐにだ。
Do something about it!
今すぐなんとかしろ。
Right now!
通報するならどこへだっていい。
If you're going to report it, then I don't care who you tell!
でもな、もしも様子見なんてことになってみろ。
But I swear, if they just end up waiting and watching...
ただじゃ済まさないからだ。
I will never forgive you! Shut up, you fool! I yelled angrily at Sensei and the principal on the other end. I wanted to somehow, some way, convey to them just how dangerous her situation was right now.
それは分かっています。
I understand that.
ちゃんと伝えますから。
I will tell them as much.
委員長、前原君を連れて教室に戻りなさい。
Mion-kun, please take my bar-kun back to the classroom.
はい。
Yes, ma'am.
行くよ、ケイちゃん。
Let's go, Kei-chan.
あとは先生たちに任せよ。
We should leave this to the teachers now.
絶対だぞ。
You better. Promise. Until the very last moment, I glared at Sensei. Cheese Sensei was being pressured by the likes of me. Idiot. This isn't the time to feel pressured. Now's the time when you give me a firm nod that'll set my mind at ease. Even so, we've already left things in her hands. At this point, we really can't do anything but pray. Bang. Mion shut the door to the teacher's lounge. Well, no turning back now. Whatever we've just set in motion. New tips unlocked. Article and stats from Ministry of Health and Welfare. Alright, I think we can check out these tips. Article. Article 2. Definition of child abuse. The term child abuse means the following acts committed by a custodian, meaning a person who exercises parental authority, a guardian of a minor, or other person who is currently engaged in the custody of a child. Hereinafter, the same shall apply. Against a child, meaning a person who is under 18 years of age. Hereinafter, the same shall apply. Number 1. Assaults the child in a manner that will cause or is likely to cause external injury on the body of a child. 2. Engage in indecency against the child or cause the child to engage in indecency. I wonder what they classify as indecent. I'm just curious because I'm just trying to think here, because depending on the country, area, jurisdiction, indecent, something that might be seen as indecent in one area of the world may be seen as totally fine in another. So I'm just wondering. I mean, obviously anything sexual would have to be classified as indecent. I mean, you don't do that shit with a minor. But I'm just curious from a law standpoint, because you gotta make sure that if there's any loopholes that the other party that you're going against in a child abuse situation could use, you should be at least aware of them and then plan accordingly. 3. Substantially reduce the amount of food for the child or abandon and neglect the child for a long time period in a manner that may interfere with normal development of the child mentally or physically, or otherwise materially fail to perform the duty of a custodian. Here, this point here, number 3, could definitely be used against the uncle. Or 4. Speak or behave in a manner that would be significantly traumatic to the child. 3. Article 3. Prohibition of child abuse. No person shall abuse a child. Law number, Act number 82 of 2000. Authored by the Minister of Health and Welfare. We know this guy is guilty of pretty much doing all that stuff to Satoko. But the problem is proving that such acts have been committed. But with point number 3, that could easily be proven by pretty much everybody in the village, because they could all easily testify this guy has not been around in Satoko's life or actually taking care of her for over a year. and was in fact hiding in the next town over. That should be your opening line of attack. That point right there. Statistics from the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Year 19 blank. Principal abusers in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total 5,352. Mother by blood 2,943. 55%. Mother not by blood 203. 3.8%. Father by blood 1,445. 27.0%. Father not by blood 48%. 488. 9.1%. So, going by these statistics, the mother by blood takes up the majority of the principal abusers in situations like these, with the father by blood being the close second. So, basically, blood relatives are the most likely to commit abuse, going by these statistics. Depressing when you think about it. You'd think it'd be the other way around. Year 19 blank. Instances by type of abuse. In cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total 5,352. Physical abuse 2,780. 51.9%. Neglect, abandonment of child 1,728, 32.3%. Psychological abuse 458, 8.6%. That seems remarkably low to me. Psychological abuse. Because, I mean, one could argue that physical abuse and abandonment could be psychologically damaging to a child. Forbidden from going to school 75, 1.4%. Well, isn't that something? You're a 1.4, Satoko. Not that I'm trying to make light of your situation by any stretch. Sexual violence 311. 5.8. Why is there music suddenly playing? Is this a clue that about something that could be very well going on with Satoko? Dear uncle, my boy, are you sticking your dick where it should not go? I did not like that last bit of that tip. At all. No, sir. Not at all. Now I'm really scared for Satoko. Oh boy. That's gonna be it, isn't it? Keiichi's gonna somehow stumble upon Satoko's dear uncle trying to sexually abuse her, and that's going to basically send Keiichi into some kind of homicidal rage, and then probably kill the bastard, and then, well, we'll get that little snippet of text that we saw a few chapters ago on that blank white screen, or at least the situation leading to him saying that. But yeah, that's got to be it. I'm gonna call it now. Sometime in the next chapter, or the chapter after, but sometime soon, we're gonna see dear old uncle trying to stick his dick where it should not go, and Keiichi is gonna bear witness to the act about to be engaged. He's gonna be like, "Oh hell no!" and take a fucking axe and chop it off him, and then chop the rest of his limbs off or something. Only time will tell, of course, but, well, I'm pretty sure that, again, that little tip, that little musical cue, that's exactly what this is all alluding to. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut things off here, and we can deal with whatever the fuck we're going to be exposing ourselves to next time in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 3. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.